Second grade, what's going on? It's Mr. Hunter. I am here with your second grade language phonics lesson for today. All you need today is a pencil and you need an open mind. All right. So first off, take a deep breath. All right. Take another deep breath. All right. Lift your arms up, shake them up a little bit. Crack your neck, roll your head a little bit, get relaxed, breathe. I'm smiling all the time because you really got to be relaxed when you're working, you're doing schoolwork. We are doing a lot, and that's a lot to do it in school. It's another thing to be doing everything that you're doing at home in a different environment. Some of you are able to print out the worksheet, some of you can't. Some of you have a lot of room to work. Some of you are working in a room with a lot of people, and there's not much privacy. There may be distractions around. Guess what? We're not going to worry about it. We're not going to stress about it. Just take a deep breath. All right, breathe out. All right, we're going to have fun with this. I'm going to walk you through the steps today. We got a lot to cover, but we're going to do it quickly and efficiently. So page 223 and 224. That is what we're working on. We are remembering and we're talking about apostrophes, apostrophe S, showing possession, and singular nouns and contractions. So we talked about a lot of that before we went on our spring break. Now we're going to jump back into it. We're going to get a little refresher. All right. So everybody ready? You have your name, you have your date on the page, and you are ready to rock. So looking at the top of the page, you can read that with me if you like. It says an apostrophe S shows possession for singular nouns. The S, that's how it looks. Everybody see that? So you have the S. All right. You have apostrophe. That's an S. I have a big apostrophe there. Your apostrophe doesn't have to be that big. I can shorten it up a little bit. All right. That's an apostrophe and an S. Then on the bottom sentence, it says an apostrophe also shows where letters have been left out in a contraction. So again, look at this. An apostrophe, it also shows where letters have been left out in a contraction. We remember what a contraction is, right? A contraction is when you take two separate words and you smush them together or bring them together to make one word. If you guys can give me an example, something like are not, won't, will not. So there are things like that. Are not, aren't, will not, won't. They take two words, you smush them together or you bring them together and it makes one word. And that's what an apostrophe does. We're going to work with that. But first, we're going to go on the bottom and number one. We're going to work with adding possession, adding apostrophe S to show, the possession. We're going to read the sentence. Then in the direction it says, write each underlined word as a contraction or a possessive noun. So possessive noun, what does that mean? It means you're showing ownership, right? If I say that's Michael's pencil, whose pencil is it? Michael's pencil, all right? Michael has that pencil. It's his, I'm showing that he has possession of it. That's Mackenzie's desk. Mackenzie's desk. Whose desk? Mackenzie's desk. Naomi's glasses. All right. Ada's shirt. Solomon's jacket. These are ways to show possession, that you own something. That is a possessive noun. All right. And a noun, we already know, a person, a place, or a thing. All right. Let's go down to number one and let's read together. All right. Well, actually, I'll read the sentence. And I want you guys to listen and look closely, because we have to underline. We have to do two parts. We have to read the sentence. We have to underline use the underline word and write it as the contraction on there. So it says, Jacob's neighborhood has a new library. I'll read it again. Jacob's neighborhood has a new library. Whose neighborhood? All right, well, let's look right here. On my page, I have Jacob's, on my board, Jacob's neighborhood has a new library. Whose neighborhood is it? It's Jacob's. So what do we need to do? What will let us show that he has possession of his neighborhood? It's his neighborhood. It's where he lives. So what are we going to do? We're going to put an apostrophe there. It's Jacob's neighborhood. We added the S, but we have to put an apostrophe there. Now, is this a contraction? Did we take two words or did we make one? No, we didn't. We just added an S and put an apostrophe, and that shows possession. So there's two ways. An apostrophe S shows possession, or it works as a contraction. All right. So there's different ways that an apostrophe can be used. So Jacob's neighborhood has a new library. That makes a little bit of sense. All right. Let's look at number two. So first off, we write Jacob's. We write that in the blank if you didn't do it already. Jacob's. Next one, the words that are underlined, it says it is. All right. So it is only 1 mile from his house. It is only 1 mile from his house. Now, what are we going to actually do for these first two words? They're underlined. So what do we do? Is this possession? Are they showing possession? I don't know if it's possession, but it seems like we might have to combine them, which is a contraction. All right. So if we combine them, is going to become it's. I'm sorry, my handwriting reaching across the board there. I don't want to block your view, but it was a little bad there. But that's an I and that's a T and that's apostrophe S. Maybe I'll just write it right here. All right. Cool. So IT and an apostrophe S. So it's only 1 mile from his house. So that's what we write in the second blank. So it's. So you're going to write the answers. They already have it underlined for you. He is going to get a library card today. He is. So what are we going to do to that? Look at the one above it. It is. What did we do? We added an apostrophe S. We just took away one of the letters. So it's, he is, maybe he's. What do you think? He's going to get a library card. She's going to get a library card. They'll get a library card. There's different ways that the apostrophe comes into play to help us shorten it. It takes two words, smushes them together, and makes one. That is your instruction for the rest of the answer there. For number two, or we did number two, Jacob's, it's, and then we did he. So you'll do the last three on your own. Think we gave pretty clear instructions. Hopefully you understand. Again, some of these are showing possession. Some of these are contractions. You got to determine which one. Number two, this one is only working with contractions. It tells us in the directions. It says, choose the best contraction to finish a sentence. We don't have to write anything. We don't have to put an apostrophe anywhere. All we have to do is read and determine which is the correct answer that we must circle. So let's look at the first one. It says, my sisters said they, and then we have two options here, weren't and wasn't, finish weeding the garden. So just by listening, sometimes you may be able to tell if a correct answer sounds right. Okay, so let's say this. Let's say it the first one. Let's choose the first one, and then we'll read the sentence. So you read it the first way. My sisters said they weren't finished weeding the garden. That sounds pretty good, right? That sounds like a correct sentence. But we can't just choose the answer just because it sounds right. So we have to see if the other one sounds right. So let's read it again. My sisters said they wasn't finished weeding the garden. Now, can you say that? Yes. Does it sound right? No. We know that's not right. My sisters wasn't finished weeding the garden? No. My sisters weren't finished? Yes. That is the correct answer. That is the proper contraction. You have to circle that one. And that is what you're going to do for number two. We can do number two. It says, Ethan blank come to school, but he was sick. So Ethan, the first one, wouldn't come to school, but he was sick. Wouldn't come, but he was sick. I don't know if that sounds correct. So we'll have to read the second version or second option to see if it sounds better than the first one, right? Ethan would have come to school, but he was sick. Oh, so that's almost like a past tense. Ethan would have come, but he didn't because he was sick. So that is a clue. Ethan would have come, but he was sick. So he would have means that he probably didn't come to school, but he was sick. How many of you think that's the right answer? Would have. How many think the first one would have? I saw everybody's hand virtually. I can see it. I know you guys chose the second option. It's really about listening and looking at the rules for what we talked about for contraction and possession there. You'll do the last three by yourself. And I think I can trust you to get all these right. I know it's a review and we're trying to work this out, but I think you guys are going to do well. All right, so we're down to the dictation. We're moving slowly, but want to make sure you're getting it. Dictation. You're going to hear a sentence. I'm going to read a sentence. First sentence is a possessive sentence. So listen carefully. It's only a few words, but you're going to write what you hear across the top. All right, the first sentence says, Max's notebook is missing. Max's notebook is missing. All right. The bottom one is telling you a sentence with a contraction. See if you can find it. All right. And that's a little pun intended here. All right. The sentence says, he can't find it. He can't find it. First sentence, Max's notebook is missing. Second sentence, he can't find it. So the first sentence, whose notebook is missing? Max's. and that is a possessive because we put the S there. Now, he can't find it. Is that a possessive or is that a contraction? Which word is a contraction? Where you can always determine where the contraction is if you see the apostrophe. Look for the apostrophe and determine if it's contraction or possessive. One way to determine if it's possessive, it always is followed by an S. Possessive is always followed by the S. So if there's not an S after an apostrophe, it's a contraction. That's a key to know. If there's an S before the apostrophe, that means it's a possession. If it's a contraction, there's not going to be an S. It can be any letter. All right? That's a way to know. Turn the page for me. We're going to turn over to page 224. All right? All right, guys. So you're on the back. You're on page 224. Number one, it says write the two words that make each contraction. So now we're doing a little bit more work. We're doing a little bit more digging. We have to be the ones to find out what are the words that are making these contractions. So the first three I put on the board here because we're going to walk through these together. The first word, it says we're. All right. So if I say we're going to go to the store, who is going to go to the store? Those two words that come to your mind. Who's going to the store? Where or we are. We are going to the store or we're going to the store. So we are the two words that make up the contraction of where. So what do we need to do? We need to put that in the blanks. We need to put first we are. Okay. So if I say we are going to the store, that's two words, but we mush them together. We take that apostrophe, we put it in there. We're going to make a contraction and we're going to say we're going to the store. How many of you guys have said that and you didn't even know it was a contraction? You've said we're going to this weekend. We're going outside this weekend. We're going to play games this weekend. You didn't even know that you were making a contraction before you even started learning this. So that's pretty cool. So now you can be aware of when you're saying things like that. All right. Number two, or on the bottom, underneath that, it says aren't. Aren't. You aren't going to go play. Is that a good sentence? I don't know. I want to do a better one. We aren't going to have school in class tomorrow. That's a good sentence. We aren't going to have school in class tomorrow. So we aren't going to do something. What does that mean? We are not. Are not. Are not are the two words that make up the word aren't. So we combine those, we smush those together, we come up with are not. So what do we need to do? We need to put are and not the letter, the word not. So we are not going to have school in class tomorrow. All right. Number three, underneath of that, it says wasn't. All right. Now we can use this as an example in school. What's a good sentence? Maybe you can come up with a good sentence. But there's a sentence, maybe we could say, she wasn't in her room. Or if you told me to go look for Miss Dolio, I asked you to go hand something to Miss Bevan. Like, let's use that example. I'm thinking a lot while I'm trying to say this. When you guys go to take money to Miss Bevan in the morning for lunch, sometimes you come back to me and say, she wasn't in there. I say, she wasn't in there. She wasn't in there. So wasn't. She was not. She was not in there. If you said was not in there, I would still understand you. But wasn't, it's pretty quick, right? And make sure you're saying it slowly. Wasn't. It's not a Z. It sounds like it wasn't, but was it. Was not. Was not. She was not in the office. She was not. So we're going to put was and not. If you'd like to, this is a really good exercise to remember to write down or to take a picture or practice, because you're going to see there's a lot of different contractions that are out here, and some of them you didn't even know existed. You just say them because it's a habit. You learned it from somebody, you heard it from somebody else, and you're just using it in your vocabulary and in your words. But now you're saying, wait, there are a lot of contractions. I want you to do the other three. Think about which words combine to make should have, we've, and your. And just like we did just now, try to use it in the sentence. You should have taken out the trash, Mr. Hunter. Remember that story I told you guys about? You should have done this. Think about that. Use the words in a sentence and see how it sounds, and that may be a way to give you the answer. All right? For number two, we're moving down. The first part, there's two parts on this. It says mark the sentences. What do you think that means? I had to take a little water break. Mark the sentences, diagram the sentences. They've already done it for us. So they have a space, they have a little line, they have another space. So what we're doing is we have to look at these sentences and really decide what's happening here. Hunter dug worms for his fishing trip. Okay, so who, what? We're looking at when you diagram, you're looking at the subject and you're looking at what they did. So what you're going to do is you're going to underline the subject one time. Then you're going to underline what they did, or the verb, two times, okay? Then what you're going to do is write the subject in the first blank and write the verb in the second blank, okay? If you don't understand, it's cool. We're going to do this together. All right, so have your pencils, have your thinking caps on, and let's look. It says Hunter. Ooh, that's a great name. Anybody know why I think that's a great name? Yeah, you know. Hunter dug worms for his fishing trip. Okay, so who dug worms? Hunter. So Hunter is the subject. So what do we first need to do? First, we need to underline Hunter. So let's underline it. And then we're going to take Hunter, because it's the subject, we're going to put it in that first blank. So we're going to put Hunter in that first blank that you see. So it should look something like this. When you have your sentence, you should have Hunter. Hunter is going to be underlined. And then you're going to put it in the blank. And then you have that little line there. And there's another line on this side. All right. So Hunter. Hunter dug worms for his fishing trip. What did he do? What's the verb? What's the action that he did? He dug. So we need to underline dug two times. So dug is going to be underlined twice. And then we're going to put it in the blank right there. Guess what? That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. It looks like there's a lot of steps, but follow the steps there. You have to underline the subject once, underline the verb, what they did, twice, and then you're going to put the subject in the first blank, the verb in the second blank. Let's do the second one, just for fun. All right, it says, his father helped him. All right, who is the subject? Because this may be a tricky one. His father helped him. Is his the subject? I don't know. His father is the subject. So we're going to underline father. We don't know who his is, but father. Oh, father's the subject. Father is the subject. So we're going to underline that once. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the blank. His father did what? His father helped him. Helped. Helped is the verb. So we're going to underline that twice. Then we're going to put helped in the second blank. That is how you diagram the sentence. When you diagram a sentence, you're looking for the subject. You're looking for the verb. All right. So you're looking for the subject. All right. And the verb. All right. The verb is what they did, what's going on in the sentence. The subject is who we're talking about. All right. Now let's look at the bottom. You can do the rest of those on your own. I think you guys will have it. What you're going to do is you're going to match the subjects to the predicates. Does anybody remember what a predicate is? A subject is who we're talking about, what we just did. The predicate is what is going on. The predicate is the rest of the sentence. So we know the subject. The predicate is the rest of the sentence. So let's look at the first one. It says, the Amazon jungle blank. Let's look at the first line right across from it. It says, have 2 feet long tongues. Does that make sense? The Amazon jungle have 2 feet long tongues? No. 2 foot long tongues? No. All right, let's look at the next one. The Amazon jungle, go down, is in South America. Wow. Does that sound right? I think it sounds right, but in case it's not, what do we have to do? We have to take more time, but we have to go through the other options, the other choices. So let's just read those just to be safe. All right. The Amazon jungle, number 3, has teeth on its tongue. That would be pretty interesting to see that. I don't think it does. All right. And then let's look at number 4. That's fourth choice. The Amazon jungle live in the Amazon River. The Amazon jungle live in the Amazon River. First of all, that's not good English. It doesn't sound right. And I don't think that's correct. So what is the right answer? The Amazon jungle is in South America. So we're going to draw a line to that. We have the subject, the Amazon jungle, and then the predicate is in South America. And it says at the end, it says, be sure the subject and the verb agree. That means the Amazon jungle have 2 feet. That's not a good connection between the verbs. The Amazon jungle is in, the verb connects to it. It connects together smoothly. Everybody understand? You're going to do that. You're going to do the last 3 on your own. There's also something that says there on the next one. It says I can't even say it. A pararuku. All right. I'm going to put a little display in the video here. It's going to show you on a YouTube video what that fish is, a pararuku. All right. You're going to take a look. And maybe next week I'll be able to say it correctly. All right, don't laugh at me. All right, number 4, on the last part, you're going to circle the special sounds and you're going to mark the vowels. This needs no explanation. You guys are in second grade. You're almost in third grade. You know how to do this, but be careful. Don't forget to mark the vowels, because on your test, I had to mark some people's test wrong because you circled the special sounds, but you didn't mark the vowels. All right. I love you guys. Hope you did well. If you need any help, any questions, go back, rewind the video, and I'll show you the video of the Praraku after this.